Yeah, welcome back to another episode of the Format Podcast. Got a pretty interesting show for you here today. And my main man, Mel from the Man Down Sports Podcast, he's coming to join us to talk some NBA. So definitely looking forward to that. But before we get to it, if you haven't already and you're here on YouTube, please go ahead, click that subscribe, that like, that notification bell. Make sure you stay up to date whenever we drop new content on the channel. If you want the audio only version of the podcast, open up your audio podcast platform, hit the search bar, type in the Format Podcast, and we should come right up. If you're enjoying the content, please give us that 5-star review, give us that like, and drop us a comment. All that stuff helps us rise in the algorithm, helps us find more sports fans, helps more sports fans find us. And keep in mind, again, every Saturday night at 7 p.m. Eastern time, we're going to be doing those live shows. You get a chance to call in and interact with me directly. So I love those, and I'm looking forward to more of that. All right, but let's get right to it. My main man, Mel, what's going on, brother?
What's good?
Maintaining, man, maintaining. So definitely looking forward to hearing your thoughts on some of these points that we got here. And let's talk about it, man. I know you're the NBA guy. So first, let's talk about,
Am I?
Oh yeah, man down sports, man. You be going at it. I see the sun's on your dome right now.
Yeah.
But let's start off talking about the Boston Celtics. Right now, they are the best team in the NBA. They're on an 11-game win streak. They just made history by having their third win in the same season of 50 points or more, which is absolutely absurd. I don't know if it speaks to how good they are, how bad the rest of the NBA is in terms of this terrible defense, but that's another story. But yeah, what do you think of them? Last time we saw them out, we saw them absolutely decimate the Golden State Warriors and basically just run them out of the building in Boston. So what are your thoughts on them? How good are they for real?
Man, they legit, man. They're a legit contender. I think their record speaks for itself. They're a complete team. There's not a lot of complete teams in the league, and they're a complete team. And what I mean by complete, that means they have their superstar, they have a legit co-star, they have a legit head coach, and they have role players that are all legit, and they play both ends of the floor. So, and they got toughness as well. So that makes a complete team. You can't find a lot of them like that. So, I mean, I think they're legit, man. I mean, it's the reason why they got the best record in the league.
Mm-hmm. So 2 years ago, they were the dominant defensive team under Ime Udoka, and that team was special and probably had a chance to really go far and probably would have won a championship by now, in my estimation, if Udoka was still the coach. But obviously things happened. He's no longer the coach. And Joe Mazzulla came in, and he kind of is the opposite of Ime Udoka. Didn't play in the league, isn't, the tough guy and the physical guy and the defensive guy, but he is an offensive guy. And so last year, the offense really took a leap forward, but the defense took a step back. What I'm impressed with this season in terms of the Celtics is you're looking at them. Obviously, the offense is crazy. They're number one, I think, in offense and offensive efficiency this year. But the defense has really stepped up. What do you attribute that to?
I mean, they added an all-time great defensive point guard in Drew Holiday. Mm-hmm. And people don't give enough credit to Porzingis for his rim protection and his ability to switch on screens on the perimeter. So having 7'3" at the rim, be athletic and able to jump and contest shots and build force down there really has helped a lot. And then taking Al Horford from the starting lineup, who's an older guy who doesn't give you much rim protection, but is still a smart defender, a capable defender. He can guard the post. He can switch on screens a little bit as well, but he's just older, right? So having him, that's a luxury, having him go to the bench and be able to come off the bench, right? So what they lost in Marcus Smart, they gained more in Drew Holiday as far as defensive end, and what they lost in Robert Williams' rim protection, they gained more with Porzingis because he's able to stay on the court. Even with his riddle injuries in the past, he's able to stand on the court more than Williams was, and he's longer at the rim. And then he gives you that offensive punch, man. So I think that's what you can attribute it to for sure.
So I don't necessarily think that they got better defensively with Holiday than Smart, but I think to your point, Holiday is an excellent defender, but also provides you with the offense that Smart didn't. So you get kind of the similar thing you said with Porzingis replacing Robert Williams. You get a lot of that and maybe more of that with with Drew Holiday replacing Marcus Smart. So that definitely works. So let's look at it from the offensive side, and then I'll go into like some of the players. I think it's interesting. Do I even say interesting? Well, for me, it's annoying. But even as a Celtics fan, these guys are shooting more than 40 3-point shots a game. In your opinion, I know that's the way the game is played now. Is that really basketball, or is it 3-point shooting contest?
You know what? I haven't watched Boston play live where I seen them actually overutilizing the three. I know what the numbers say, but when I'm watching Boston, I'm seeing whenever they have a mismatch with Porzingis as a 7'3" power forward / center, they're throwing the ball in the post to him, right? And if you just so happen to get threes off of the ball going into the post first, and as a matter of fact, Mazzulla has made it an emphasis of going in the post this season. That was something that they talked about the first week of the season. So it don't matter if it's Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, or Porzingis. If they see a mismatch, they're going to go in the post with it. Now, if you're getting threes off of double teams,
I don't mind that.
Where it started in the post, then great. Yeah. You know, because the Lakers got a lot of threes off throwing the ball in the post to Shaq, right? So if they're doing it that way, they're going inside and they're trying to seek the easy basket, but the double is coming and they're taking what the defense is giving them, and they just happen to have good 3-point shooters. Then I don't have an issue with it at all.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. I guess just looking at it, I'm thinking 43s a game. That's absurd, because this is something I've been complaining about for a couple of years now. Just watching Boston play, is they seem like they give up so much easy stuff for shooting the three. And again, that's the way the game is played now. But I'm like, okay, you're coming down in transition, you'll pull up and shoot a three instead of go get a layup or a dunk. Like, that doesn't make sense to me. You got a chance, you penetrate, you're at the rim, you could get a layup or a dunk, and you kick it out for a three. I don't care what the numbers and the analytics say about the corner three. There's no way you can tell me shooting the ball from 20 feet, 21 feet is a higher percentage than getting an easy layup. It's just not, no matter what the analytics try to tell you. Now, that said, the Celtics are shooting, I believe, 38.6% from three as a team this year, which is crazy. I think the last team I remember really shooting the three that well as a unit that I remember, I'm probably wrong on this, but I remember the 2000 Pacers with Reggie Miller and Jalen Rose and them, team that went to the finals against the Lakers. That team shot it really well. Reggie Miller, Jalen Rose, Mark Jackson, Chris Mullin. That team could really knock it down from triple. I think they were like 40% as a team. But anyway, just watching these Celtics not even just the Celtics though. To me, most of these teams, it can be just super frustrating, because if you would, as a team, take more time to run real offense and execute, you probably would have a chance to win a lot more games instead of just turning it into a shooting contest where you could go cold or you could be hot. Now, I get it. If you get down big, the three can bring you back. But on the whole, I don't know. It's annoying to me. But moving on from the way they play as a team, I'm looking at it and I'm saying, I wonder if they've finally been able to put it all together this year. And by that, I mean, Jason Tatum is the best player on that team. And so he's should be the guy that if they're going to get there, he's got to take them. And I've been saying it for a while. You look at Jason Tatum and then you look at Jaylen Brown. If you could somehow put those two together and make one player, you'd have somebody unstoppable. Because Jaylen Brown, he got a nasty mentality, but he's not quite as good as Jason Tatum. So then you look at Jaylen Brown and you look at Jason Tatum. He doesn't have the mentality that Jaylen Brown has, but he's so much more skilled. And I said this on another show. Jaylen Brown is a dude who he can, not Jaylen Brown, I'm sorry, I keep getting it confused. Jason Tatum is a dude that when he goes off, he's one of the most unstoppable dudes in the league, but he doesn't seem to have that mentality and that will to just take over and dominate. And I'm wondering, is that has to be something that's part of your personality, or can it manifest in certain situations? Like, what do you think? You feel like he's that dude that can take you to where you need to go, or is there something missing? Because I feel like there's something missing.
I actually think he is. He got the same mentality that Jaylen Brown got. I think they both got killer instinct. It's just, you got to kind of look below the surface with some of these players, man, because some of these players are really coachable, right? Some of these players, especially these guys that went through those systems like Duke. And had to play for Coach K and stuff like that. These guys are very coachable, and whatever the coach says goes, they'll buy into it. You know, they don't have a lot of buck in them to buck the system or buck the coach, right? So if the coach want to run an offense this type of way, and they don't want their best player, to be that selfish, to fans, it looks like that he don't have the killer instinct, where he's just really being coached.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I think Jason Tatum is that. You know, I the way I seen him go with Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant, and I know he really looked up to Kyrie Irving, you know, as being former teammates, and he really look up to Kevin Durant. I don't think he look up to Kevin Durant no more. For some reason, after that series, I haven't seen him talk highly about Kevin Durant in the public like he did before that series. So I don't know if they had said something in passing, or being able to, he took Kevin Durant down like that. He felt like, you know, I'm more alpha than you now. I don't know, but my point is, during that series, he was looking at them in awe right before that, and he went at them to chop their head off. You know, so I seen him turn it on. Something happened different when he got to the Golden State Warriors. In the finals, the calls wasn't going really his way, and he didn't know how to navigate that because he was getting every call against Boston that year. So he didn't know how to navigate that part. So I mean, I think we're just looking at it wrong. He definitely has killer instinct, and I definitely think, yeah, he can take his team to the next level. I mean, why not? I mean, we had the same question about Steph Curry until he beat Boston without Kevin Durant. You know, he didn't perform well in his first championship, and then Iguodala got MVP, and then Kevin Durant, you know what he did the next two finals that they won, he got MVP for both of those. So when he finally beat Boston, that was the first time we seen Steph Curry kind of put the hush, those whispers about him not being able to take the team and carry it, like, you know, like we said about Tatum.
That's interesting. I never felt that way about Steph, but maybe that's a topic for another show. But no, I get what you're saying about Tatum. I don't know. Side note, to the point that you were making about he doesn't necessarily look at Durant the same way. I guess when you thoroughly lock somebody up, not saying that he did it all on his own, but as a team, when they locked him up and to some extent punked him in that series 2 years ago, with Udoka as head coach, those defensive schemes and the physicality that they were allowed to kind of play with, maybe you would look at Kevin Durant differently. Maybe you see, oh, wait a minute, maybe he's not, you know, all I built him up to be in my mind. So I get that. So what do you think about Jaylen Brown? Do you think he's a guy that can really be that number two, that if you believe that Tatum can take you there, to be that number two that most number ones need?
Yeah, Jaylen Brown is a legit number two. If you go around the league and just rank number twos, right, you'll probably have to have Anthony Davis and Kyrie Irving pretty high. But Jaylen Brown will be up there as well. Like if we're just ranking number twos, like Booker will be up there. Booker will probably be number one. Anthony Davis 2, Kyrie 3, and Jaylen Brown will be up there top 5 probably. You know, so he's a legit number 2. You know, so but he's probably the only number 2 that probably can't be a number 1. I don't think Jaylen Brown can be a legit number 1.
I get that
on a team that's going to be very successful for a long time. But I do think Booker, Anthony Davis, and to a certain extent, Kyrie Irving can be a legit number 1 on a team that's successful for over a period of time. Jaylen Brown's not that. So number 2 is his ceiling, but he's a really good and legit number 2 for sure.
So if the Celtics are kind of the team that you're looking at as the best team in the league, or at the very least the best team in the East, who gives the Celtics the most problems trying to get out of that conference?
Man, see, you asking me a question, and so if I'm keeping it strictly basketball, because there's 2 answers to this, right? Because you know I'm a guy that also believes that the NBA is providing the best form of entertainment that they could provide, and they also trying to provide.
Marina said it.
The most profitable form of entertainment that they could provide, right? So if they look at a situation and say, we're going to be more profitable if this player succeed or this team succeed, they're gonna try to, you know, I don't want to say the word,
I get it,
fix, but they're gonna influence as much as they can influence to facilitate that outcome, right? That's the word I'm looking for. Facilitate. We're going to create an environment that's going to help facilitate the outcomes we want, right? So I'll put that on the shelf for now and just talk basketball. From a basketball standpoint, when you look at the Boston Celtics as a team, a Milwaukee Bucks team clicking on all cylinders could be someone that can give them a run for their money.
I agree.
But New York, Miami, Cleveland,
I don't think New York has enough.
Yeah, these three teams: New York, Cleveland, Atlanta. Well, they probably only make the playoffs, but New York, Cleveland, Miami. I don't think they have a chance. Legitly, they don't have a chance. But Milwaukee does, right? And if Boston goes through the East, rather easily and get to the finals, then of course their rivals would be Denver, and not saying that Phoenix would make it to the finals, but if by some magic wand was waved and they did, I think they could pose some matchup issues for Boston. But I don't think Phoenix would make it that far. So yeah, Denver might be so Denver might be a challenge, and Milwaukee.
So I can see that Milwaukee. I was going to bring them up because they are playing very well out of the break. It looks like Glenn the consultant kind of got some things rolling over there.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, he's got them playing defense, which was the biggest issue under Adrian Griffin. The defense, I want to say, is like 5th or 6th in the league since the All-Star break ended, and everybody came back from that. And seems like they're starting to click well, but I'm still curious to know how Dame Lillard will do in the playoff pressure cooker. Not saying he hasn't been in the playoffs before, of course, but to be expected to make a deep playoff run. Because I'm thinking in Portland, anything he did, that was just golden, right? Because no one expected Portland to really be that team to make a deep run and really be a threat to anybody. But people expect Giannis is a champion, obviously, and that team has championship DNA. So people are expecting that the addition of Lillard, add Lillard and Stir would be the thing to push him over the top. So I don't think they're going to roll over, but it's going to be really interesting to see how he deals with the pressure cooker of that situation. And even still, Giannis is not going to roll over, and I don't think Milwaukee's going to roll over. I guess it comes down to, can Glenn the consultant, a.k.a. Doc Rivers, do what he needs to do, again, in a difficult playoff situation where we've seen him over the last, 10-plus years fail consistently. So that's going to be interesting to see. Any thoughts real quick before we move on to the next topic about the Lakers possibly getting out of the West?
I don't think Glenn the consultant really was failing in those playoff situations, to be honest with you. I mean,
okay,
he's a good coach. And
I'm not saying he's not. I mean,
he always gets his teams to the playoffs and they make runs. Anytime he's lost, I don't care if it was a 3-1 lead or not. It probably was to a better team. He probably shouldn't have been up 3-1 in the first place. I mean, I don't put all those 3-1 leads that was lost on him, and especially not the Clippers one in the bubble. That was on them, and the players melted down. But as far as the pressure cooker for Dame Lillard, I don't think that's too much of a factor, man. It's just, with Milwaukee, they just had to figure out how Dame and Giannis was going to play together, with the other pieces and stuff like that, and it becomes very hard because Giannis is such a limited player offensively. That he is locked into one way of playing, and that doesn't fit well with what Lillard's skill set is. But since Lillard is the more skilled player, he has to figure out how to fit around Giannis. But they're taking turns, kind of acquiescing to each other and saying, I want you to lead. I want you to lead. So they're still trying to figure that out on top of the fact that the puzzle don't fit just as well as they wanted to fit, man. So it's a lot of figuring out. But if they get the clicking, I mean, you got a player that's gonna be dangerous and can go off for 40 or 50 in a playoff game. If he get hot, that you got to pay attention to, and then you got a dominant force like Giannis. So it's not the dynamic that Philly had last year with Embiid, who's gonna probably get hurt and with Harden, who's probably going to disappear. It's not that situation.
Mm-hmm.
I'm more scared of Giannis Lillard than I would be of a Harden Embiid last year.
Fair enough.